Yeah, what's going on, everybody? This is your boy Q here, coming to you with another episode of the No Name Podcast. Hey, feel free. I have some ideas that I still have to run past the CFO of the company, i.e., my wife. Um, but as for right now, I don't have a name for the podcast, so feel free to send some suggestions via messaging or however you want to. Give me a phone call too. I'm always available for suggestions on the name of the podcast. And if you want to join the podcast, again, send me a message. I love to have people on. That's something that we will eventually do. We will eventually have another setup and all this and all that. But this is the jump start of the podcast, and I just want to get some things out. So, like I talked about in my last podcast about a couple weeks ago, the newsletter that I'm gonna cover is whatever it takes. What are you willing to sacrifice? Just to give you a little insight into how this one came about, it's actually pretty funny. I was up at probably like 2 o'clock in the morning, having a little whiskey. I'm not gonna lie to you, little liquid courage. At 2 o'clock, just thinking about some things. I was actually finishing up another newsletter that I had previously written, and I got this idea, and I honestly just stopped what I was doing, and just kind of went with it. And 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm finishing up writing this newsletter, and yeah, there it is. That's when you get those thoughts, especially as a writer, you just got to stop everything and go with it. I mean, it's just one of those things because you never know where it can lead you, and you never know what can come about it. So you just have to kind of go with it. So, like I said at the beginning of the article, a wise man once told me, in order to succeed in life, you have to be willing to sacrifice. I wish they would have told me because it was actually in many different ways. I have two dads. In many different ways, both of them have shared that same message to me, and and one in particular told me those exact words, and it's something that will always stick with me because it's true. I wish he would have told me what I would have to sacrifice, but that's only something that I would know. What what I needed to sacrifice in order to get to the goals and get to the life that I wanted to live. So, what are you willing to sacrifice? I know a lot of you are here because of weight or nutrition or health and fitness and all that stuff. So I can imagine that your goals are related to that. What are you willing to sacrifice to get there? A lot of people will say they don't have time. I call BS on that because, in my opinion, you just don't want to make the time. But are you willing to sacrifice the time to get there? Are you willing to sacrifice not all of relationships, but some form of a relationship in order to get to the goals that you want to get? Are you willing to sacrifice the energy that you need in order to get to the goals that you want to achieve and reach in your life? These are important questions that you have to ask yourself. What are you willing to sacrifice in order to get there? I wish as a coach I can answer those questions for you, but I can't. That has to be something that you can do. That has to be something that is done by you. Because the age-old excuse that I hear countless times is, hey, I just don't have the time. It's like, man, dude, really? You don't you don't have 5 minutes to do 5 minutes of squats? You don't have 20 minutes to cook chicken, vegetables? I mean, really? Because I think you do. You're just not prioritizing things the way that you should in order to reach the goals that you want to get to. In my household, we meal prep. We typically is me because my wife works later hours. So, every Sunday or Tuesday, I'm cooking food for the week. I'm prepping our vegetables. I'm cooking the meat for the week. And it typically takes me in between 2 to 2.5 hours. I prefer to do it on Sunday because I can kind of do that while watching football because football is king. But any and everybody has the time. You just have to prioritize it. Some of the sacrifices that you may have to make, maybe with relationships. I mean, I'm not telling you to drop all relationships to get to where you want to be, but essentially, if you're not being and if you're not alive and you're not healthy, what good is the relationships anyway? I mean, they're not really all that great if you can't take full advantage of it. Because when you're healthy, you can move more. When you can move more, you can enjoy life. You can go out and build those relationships. You can go out and do things that you never thought you'd be able to do because you're in a better place health wise. And your body appreciates you, so it will take care of you. So what do you want to do? Do you want to let those relationships suffer later in life when you can't do anything? Or do you want to let those people in your life know, like, hey, my health is important to me, and I really need to focus on my health right now? You should do the same thing too, because at the end of the day, if you have somebody in your corner working out with you and doing the life and doing the thing with you, it makes it so much better. Build a relationship with your spouse around working out and health and healthy eating and coming up with new ideas to do in the kitchen, keeping it PG, of course. But get your kids involved in working out. Teach your kids how to cook. Like my 4-year-old knows nothing other than daddy or mommy standing in the kitchen cooking because that's what we do. We don't do it all the time, but those are very valuable tools that the kid will see and have an understanding of, aha, that's how it should be done. That's how I was with my parents. I didn't see them cooking all the time, but majority of the time I did, which made it a premium and a priority for me to follow suit and to cook the things that I wanted to eat that are going to help me reach my goals. Are you willing to sacrifice the energy? See, the funny thing about energy is the more you do, the more your body will reward you, which will actually give you more energy. The funniest thing, because your body gets used to you doing more. So it's like, oh, hey, like she or he is doing more. So we got to accommodate for this. We got to adjust for this. We got to adapt to this. So in actuality, by doing the things that you need to be doing, it'll actually give you more energy to do things that you want to do and to live the life that you want to live and to go out and experience life with others and have fun and do this and do that. It's actually quite funny how that works. So by sacrificing the energy, quote unquote, now, you're actually gaining the energy pretty soon after that to do even more things. So what are you willing to sacrifice? I don't know. Again, I can't answer that question, but you can. Every day, I sacrifice time. Every day, I sacrifice relationships. Every day, I sacrifice energy and effort in order to put energy and effort into my clients to make sure that they're reaching their goals. Whenever I have a training session with a client, I typically have to go pick up my son from school, take him home, and then have to tell him, like, hey, buddy, daddy has to go coach. I'll be back. And he understands that because he doesn't fully understand what sacrifice is, but he understands that daddy has a love and passion for coaching. And, it's funny, he'll actually tell me when I get back home, hey, daddy, how was coaching? Or, hey, daddy, I'm going to coach now too. It's so cute, but that's neither here nor there. But I sacrifice those things in order to get to where I want to be as a business owner. I sacrifice those things in order to make my life better in the future. Because as hard as it may be starting off, you get better and better and better. The only way to improve your life is to go through it. In order to, the only way to get to the results that you want, huh, what do you think? Is to actually do the things that's going to get you there? See, most people aren't willing to make those sacrifices, and that's fine. That's fine. I'm not meant to do everything that I want in my life either. But some things that I have control over that I will and am going to do, I'm gonna make the sacrifices in order to do it. It's not selfish. It's just being human. And typically, I'll just give you this little insight. Typically, the things that I'm passionate about, as far as with life and the things that I make sacrifices for, in the end, they always benefit the family. So by doing the things that I'm sacrificing now, I'm actually going to benefit and have more time with my family. It's the weirdest thing. We're so focused on the right now, which it's fine to be in the moment. You should be present. But at some point in time, you have to understand, even in being present, it can affect your future. The things you do now impact the things that you will do 10 years from now. The health that you build now will have you in the doctor's office having the doctor say, "Oh wow, you're doing a great job. See you next year." Versus, "Oh hey, maybe you should get on this pill or that pill or this drug or that drug because you're not healthy." Sacrifice now. Do the things now so that they don't impact your life in a negative way later. Do the things that you need to do working out. And I'm not saying go to the gym for 10 hours. Hell, you can get a good workout for 30 minutes. Do that now so that when you're 40, 50, 60, it's already a habit. It's already a part of who you are. It's already something that's going to be with you for the rest of your life. And because of that, good health is going to be with you for the rest of your life too. Start meal prepping now. Like it doesn't have to be hard. Just pick two meats, two vegetables, cook them, cook enough for the whole week. Bam, you're done. Now you have something for lunch and dinner and breakfast. You can just do yogurt and berries. Simple. I'm giving you too much right now with that one, but just being honest with you, it's so simple, but we make it harder than what it really is because we almost want it to be complicated. But the hard part about this, it's not necessarily the food, it's the habits. If you spent the last 30, 40, 50, 60 years doing one thing, changing that is terribly difficult. It really is. But just because it's difficult doesn't mean it can't be done. And you can do it. You just have to be willing to make the sacrifices in order to do it. Okay. And I'm not saying you have to be perfect. As a nutrition coach, I don't expect you to. As a CrossFit instructor, I don't expect you to. I don't expect you to work out every day. I don't. I don't expect you to eat perfect every day because I don't either. But I do work out with consistency. I do eat the things that are going to help me reach my goals consistently. And that's the key. You don't have to be perfect because nobody is. You just got to make a B. Even in school, if you get an 80, not perfect, but you were consistent enough to pass the class. And that's the trick, consistency. If you work out 3 days a week doing some resistance training and you walk 5 days a week, bam, Just imagine what that'll do for you. If 2 out of the 4 meals that you eat are full with lean protein, vegetables, fruits, nuts, and seeds, little starch, no sugar, damn, that's what that'll do for you. It'll do a lot, but you don't have to do it every day. You don't have to do it every meal. That's not an expectation. That's not realistic. But what is realistic is maybe 2 out of the 4 or 3 out of the 4 per day, per week. Lifetime worth of changes right there. Don't make it more complicated than it really is. It's simple. It's really simple. You just got to start. You just have to make that sacrifice. And that sacrifice has to be made today so that it doesn't interfere with your life tomorrow. That sacrifice has to be made today so that when you're 67 years old and you're sitting in the doctor's office, he's not telling you you have to do this or else. Make the sacrifice today. That's it. I mean, that's honestly it. I can't stress that enough. A lot of people won't do it, and that's fine. Again, nobody's here judging you. But don't be one of those people either. You have the choice. You have the ability to create the life that you want to live. And like I always say at the end of every newsletter, after every social media post, create yourself a great day because you have the power to do that. You just have to be willing to sacrifice. So what are you willing to sacrifice? All right, everybody. That's all we got today. Hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Hope you enjoyed this video and audio. Some things may be changing. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But for the most part, I'll keep pumping these things out. And again, if you would like to, feel free to reach out. Maybe we can get you on the podcast too. But until then, make the sacrifice necessary, do the simple things, and create yourself a great day. Peace.